Good morning and welcome back. I am Jason Ellis and this is TechVale News. Today is March 23rd and make sure to stick towards the end about a little frustration piece I'm going to bring up. But in the meantime, let's get to the entertainment headlines from yesterday for you to know going into your workday today. Our first news story is something that I am definitely geeking out about. It is very fun news to say the least. Emerald Fennell, who is the writer-director of Promising Young Woman, who's getting a lot of hype up with the upcoming Oscars. She has been brought on by DC and Warner Brothers to write the adaptation of the comic hero ZATANNA. And ZATANNA is probably one of my top 5 favorite superheroes. She is a magician. Her father is also a badass magician, but she is almost one of the most powerful magic-based superheroes in the DC world, and is just fun, snarky, quick-witted. So having Emerald write that tone that she did for Promising Young Woman is probably going to match this character very, very well. It is not yet known if she's going to direct it. I guarantee if maybe she wins something at the Oscars, that would probably be a very smart thing to have her also direct, but that is not in the cards quite yet. But to have Emerald adapt this awesome, badass female hero in the DC universe is pretty fucking fun news and very exciting. So great job for Warner Brothers for getting Emerald before the hype around Promising Young Woman even came out. So we'll see how it comes out, but I think a very fun, nerd-centric news story to say the least. A24 has just created a 2-year first look deal in television with Aster and Lars Knudsen of their Square Peg production company. You're probably familiar with Aster. He's the writer-director behind Hereditary, Midsommar. His next one is Disappointment Boulevard with Joaquin Phoenix starring in it. Lars Knudsen, on the other hand, is very producer-based. He's done, I want to say, over 30 different films by now. This is a smart move by A24. I think A24 is really starting to creep up on Blumhouse in the horror genre. I would say Blumhouse is very good, not knocking them by any means, but they are starting to become more quantity versus quality. And I think A24 is the reverse of going quality versus quantity because of the horror titles they've been starting to do. Have been doing some really great traction. And in the TV space, a lot of studios have been trying to find the best way to crack horror. You know, the Scream series did well, but you had to keep on killing off your series regulars. So it's been a struggle to properly find ways to keep horror characters alive in an ongoing series, unless you do an anthology like, American Horror Story or House on Haunted Hill. But to have an ongoing horror series is a tough thread to needle. So hopefully this deal between Aster and A24 may come up with a solution for that. So smart deal. Let's see what comes of it. But I think a really great step forward for horror TV. And a first of its kind, animation creator Peter Browngardt is the first ever executive producer, writer, creator to ink a first look deal with both Warner Brothers Animation and Cartoon Network Studios. And the reason for this is because Warner Brothers has decided to create a single leadership team above both Warner Brothers and Cartoon Network. They are still different companies, still different teams below, but they have taken a unifying approach on how to make the best first look deals with creators. So Peter is the executive producer of the Looney Tunes reboot, which is getting a lot of nominations for the Annie Awards. So I think it's a very smart start of opportunities like this, especially in the animation game. Animation, I still believe, is one of those genres that a lot of Hollywood is not paying attention to, but some of the best writers and creators come from animation. So to see Warner Brothers kind of giving a little bit of a nod to Peter's worth is a great start to the animation field. This story, I think, is going to be a great fortunate and unfortunate key marker in the IP business. Netflix has picked up the screen rights to the Boom Studios graphic novel Berserker. And the reason why I'm saying it's fortunate and unfortunate is because this graphic novel comes from Keanu Reeves. He is a part of the creative team. He's actually the lead character in the graphic novel, and obviously he's going to be a part of the screen adaptation in a, it's not live action, they're doing an animation screen adaptation of it. But I think this is going to start showing why a lot of production companies, a lot of studios are starting to create their own IP. And this is almost the best way to do it, by taking A-lister, putting their face, their moxie into a graphic novel, create a fan base. I think this sold over 650,000 copies. And then they're going to take that pre-created hype with an A-lister and bring it to the big screen, or the streaming screen, I should say. But still, this is where you're seeing a lot of production companies are starting to go, hey, I like this script a lot, not yet ready for us, but let's make it into a graphic novel. Let's make it into a book. Let's make it into a podcast. I think it's a great strategy for production companies to be doing this. It's an unfortunate strategy because it's essentially going, studios are not looking at spec scripts as much. So essentially we had to generate a hype around a spec script in a different medium to have a studio go, I want that. So I don't know if Berserker was originally a screenplay turned graphic novel. It might have just been graphic novel from the get-go. Probably was, because I know Keanu Reeves is a nerd, so he probably wanted to do this. But I think we're going to start seeing graphic novels, books, podcasts with A-listers already pre-attached, essentially, to then once the screen rights are sold off, those A-listers will come with it. So great on Keanu Reeves. I think Berserker is very cool. I mean, just quickly, it's literally about an immortal warrior who has been employed by the U.S. government, and they're going to help him find out why he's immortal. Feels a little bit like Hellboy, but non-demonic. It's just an interesting way to now view IP in a different lens. And also, Disney created their own IP division for this, purpose. It's great news, bad news. Depends on what side of the business you're on, but I think something for us to all investigate and look into. In attachment news, Amazon's Jack Reacher has brought on 3 new castmates to the Jack Reacher project. Malcolm Goodwin, Willa Fitzgerald, Chris Webster are going to be joining Alan Ritchson in the adaptation of the best-selling books. Obviously, this is going to be accompanying Amazon's Jack Ryan, which is doing very well for them. So getting Jack Ryan and Jack Reacher under the same shingle makes a lot of sense. I like Alan Ritchson. I don't know if he is a leading man, but I really do like this casting of Malcolm, Willa, and Chris to the cast. So should be really fun. Excited to see this come out. FX has landed Yelan Noel to be their front man for their upcoming pilot, The Spook Who Sat by the Door. You know Yelan from Issa Rae's Insecure. He's a really smart actor. This pilot is essentially about the first recruit from the CIA who is black, and the twist is that he is a black revolutionary. So it's going to be very twists and turns, but smart writing. Lee Daniels is producing, Lee Dana Jackson is writing, and Gerard McMurray directing. I think Yelan's awesome, and great to see him getting a title role in a smart pilot that probably will go to series, is my gut after reading the script. So I did say at the top that I have a little bit of a frustration I want to talk about that I am having with Hollywood right now. And it really stems from essentially glorifying recent events. And here I understand, like, we need to talk about and bring up events that are true. I mean, World War II stories I get, serial killers I get, the movie Spotlight did very smart things. It's just those iterations, I feel like, bring out a positive message. In the end, yes, it's shrouded in darkness and fucked up stories and all that, but you still kind of come out of it going, okay, I understand why they told the story. Makes sense. We're getting to the root of the problem, blah, blah, blah. But the fact that there are projects in development about recent news that's not even a year old or just over a year old, I just think is almost going, you're glorifying evil people and essentially going, hey, if you do something fucked up, we're going to make a movie out of it. I mean, you literally you have Elle Fanning, who's going to be playing Michelle Carter in The Girl from Plainville. This is literally about a girl who convinced her boyfriend to kill himself. I don't understand what you're going to get out of this that goes, hey, I get it. It makes sense. Yes, the case is interesting. The docuseries about it, interesting. But to then try to make money off of it and try to, which I'm going to strongly assume, try to win an Emmy off of it is pretty gross. I don't understand the approach to that. I don't see the win of it besides to go, let's talk about teen suicide some more. Let's have another repeat of 13 Reasons Why where suicide becomes another issue. Why are we talking about a girl who, yeah, the case was interesting, but essentially told someone to kill themselves? What's the win? And then you have Showtime announcing that they are making a limited series about the Capitol riots that happened 2 months ago. Who's going, hey, you know what's a great idea? Let's glorify these, MAGA, these extremists who decided to storm our Capitol. Let's make money off of that. I don't understand that. Let's think about, there has to be so many other nicer stories, and I don't mind if it's extreme news. That's fine. But to glorify something that just happened where people died, I don't see the win for that. I don't see the why. Let's make a prestige play for that. Why don't you find a different story? There are so many different scripts out there that are ready to go. There's so many, different true stories that are out there. I mean, they even have The Staircase, which is the Michael Peterson story about his wife who fell down the stairs. Did he kill her? Did he not? It's not to be rude, it's not an eventful story. So why are we making that into a limited series? I don't understand this new hyping of true crime stories to make into a fictional narrative. True crime docuseries? Fuck yes. It's great. They bring up the facts, allows you to come up with your own opinion, and you're not really going, hey, we're making this to win an Emmy. We're making this to win the Oscar. It's more of a document fact, bringing. You know for a fact that no matter what happens, when you write a script, you take a point of view. You're not going to do what a docuseries does about talking about both sides of the story. So having Hollywood in general taking these recent news stories about terrible people and going, let's make money. I have an issue with that. And I'm sorry if you disagree. Happy to talk about it in the comments. But I think there's so many great stories, true stories out there that can be told that are not wasting our time on glorifying recent evil people. So I appreciate you listening to my little tirade. These are the main headlines going into your workday today. Once again, I am Jason Ellis. Please remember to like and subscribe. And I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a great day.